Yes, very good morning to you all. Today we will start with another very important topic of stability analysis, that is root locus technique. Previously we have seen the Routh-Hurwitz criteria for stability and its numerical also. Beyond that, there is one very important technique, that is root locus technique, which is used to check the stability of the given control system. So in this lecture, you will learn the following things. What is the definition of root locus? How to sketch the root locus? How to use root locus and find the poles of a closed loop system? Again, how to use a root locus to describe the change in the transient response, and how the use of root locus in the designing parameter value to meet the desired transient response. So in this class, we will see the basic steps or basic idea regarding the root locus technique. In further classes, we will solve actual problems related to control system. So first of all, what is the definition of root locus? So see, what do you mean by root locus? Root locus is a graphical representation of the closed loop poles of a system parameter which is varied from 0 to infinity. Before presenting the root locus, let us now consider the two concepts we need to ensuring the discussions, that is control system problem and the complex problem, right? So what are these control system problems? Consider a system transfer function. So transfer function is given, T of s equals to kg of s divided by 1 plus kg of s into h of s. This is your transfer function. The pole of T of s, poles are lying on the denominator. Yes, keep in mind, if you are given a numerator and denominator, so denominator, they are your poles, and numerator, they are your zeros. So poles always lie in the denominator side. That pole is not immediately known without the factoring of the denominator, and they are the function of k. Since the system transient response and the stability are dependent upon the poles of T of s, we have the knowledge of the system performance unless the factor denominator is specified. Yes, just keep in mind, for any given transfer function, there will be some numerator and then denominator. So denominator, that is in this case, denominator would be your poles, and which are lying on the numerator, that are your zeros. So any transfer function consists of poles and zeros. Poles will be lying on the denominator side and zeros will be lying on the numerator side of the transfer function. Is that understood? Keep that in mind. So what is the definition for the root locus? So we will say the definition of the root locus. A root locus technique can be used to analyze and design the effect of a loop gain upon the system transient response and stability. The closed loop transfer function of the system with gain k is, here the transfer function is given, T of s equals to k g of s divided by 1 plus kg of s into h of s. From this equation, a pole S exists when the characteristics polynomial in the denominator becomes 0. So what is your characteristic equation? Characteristic equation, you know that CE, that is characteristic equation, equals to 1 plus g of s into h of s equals to 0. So there are the following 5 rules to sketch the root locus. You cannot draw simply if you have given a transfer function and someone says draw the root locus of the given transfer function. You just can't draw the without these five basic rules. So sketching a root locus, the following five rules are must. So what are these rules? First rule is number of branches. So what are these branches? So each closed loop poles moves as the gain is varied. If we define the branch as a path that one pole transfers through, there will be another branch of the each closed loop pole. One first rule defines the number of branches of the root locus. The number of branches of the root locus are equal to the number of closed loop poles. So, what keep that in mind, this highlighted color statement, the number of branches of the root locus are equal to the number of closed loop poles. Means जितने तुम्हारे पोल्स रहेंगे, डिनोमिनेटर वाले जो पोल्स रहेंगे, उतने ही तुम्हारे रूट लोकस के ब्रांचेस रहेंगे. Keep that in mind. This first rule, that is number of the branches. So number of branches of the root locus are equal to the number of closed loop poles. Keep that in mind. Okay, what is the next rule to draw the root locus? That is regarding the symmetry, right? Yes. What is your next rule? It is regarding the symmetry, right? So the physical realizable system cannot have the complex coefficients. There, the transfer function, thus, the root locus is symmetrical about real axis. So, regarding root locus, you have to keep that is your axis in the S plane, means on the left hand side also, right hand side also, and in above that zero, above that imaginary axis, and below that. So, complete S plane is your real axis. So, root locus is symmetrical about its real axis. Real axis segments. Third rule for drawing the root locus is that the real axis segment using series of root locus, we get on real axis k is greater than 0, the root locus exists on the left of an odd number of the real axis, finite open loops, and the finite open loops zeros. Means, see, this is your real axis as shown in this figure. This is your real axis. So, how to check whether the root locus exists here or not? How to check? For checking this condition, we have to see that first of all, we have to mark the given transfer function with the poles and zeros. So in this case, see, cross sign indicates they are having poles. Means in transfer function, there will be one pole at -1, again another pole at -2. Means what will be my equation? S plus 1. In denominator, I am saying in denominator, there would be a term S plus 1 and then S plus 2. Are you getting? So poles are marked with cross sign on the real axis. See, from this main root locus concept begins. So this is your S plane. Okay. So in this S plane, you are having j omega axis. This is S plane on left hand side and right hand side and up and down. This total is your S plane. So the cross sign indicates that they are poles present in your transfer function. Means in transfer function, denominator side, there would be S plus 1 and S plus 2. And this circle indicates that they are zeros in your transfer function. Means they would be lying on the numerator side. Are you getting? Yes, please reply. Am I audible? Is PPT visible? Yes. Okay. So, have you understood this S plane? The cross sign indicates that they are your poles. Poles means on denominator side of the transfer function. And these zeros means S plus 3 and S plus 4. They would be lying on the numerator side of your transfer function. Are you getting? These circles indicate they are your zeros and cross sign indicates they are your poles. See, in this figure, the root locus lies between -1 and -2 and between 3 and -4. See, this is your pole zero mapping on the real axis. First of all, given transfer function, we have to map the pole zero mapping on this S plane. Means given transfer function, there would be one pole at -1, one pole at -2, again another zero at -3, and then again another zero at -4. Means on numerator side there will be S plus 3, S plus 4 bracket, and then denominator side there would be S plus 1 and S plus 2. Are you getting this? Have you understood this pole zero mapping? So how to check whether the root locus lies between -1 and -2 or -2 and -3 or -3 and -4? We have to check whether the root locus will lie from -1 and -2 side or -2 or -3 or -3 or -4. See, for this, what we have to do, I will see one concept is there. Seeing on -1, I would say that on my right side there is odd number of pole. Means, see -1, if I am taking -1, okay. So on right hand side of the -1, is there any pole present? No pole present. So I will be moving to -2. See, from -2, is there any pole on the right hand side? Yes, there is odd number of pole. Odd number means 1. One pole is there on the right hand side of -2. Means this is root locus region. From this region, there must be a breakaway point. From that, the root locus will lie. So root locus will lie from -1 and -2. It will be any coordinate, that is breakaway point, that is -1.67, -1.89, -1, but it would be between -1 and -2. Are you getting? So coming to the -3 pole, I would check that is there any odd number of pole on the right hand side. See, there is two poles, means it is even number. One pole and then two pole. There are two poles on the right hand side of the -3. So there would not be any root locus in between -3 and -2. Means the condition for root locus is that on my right hand side of the poles or zeros, there should be odd number. So On the right hand side of minus 3, there are even number of pole, means 1 and 2. 2 is even number. That's why the root locus will not lie between minus 3 and minus 2. So now coming to the zeros at minus 4. Check on the right hand side of minus 4, there are three numbers of poles or zeros. See, 1, 2, and then 3. Means there might be a root locus between the region minus 3 and minus 4. So I have checked the condition for existence of. So the root locus exists between minus 1 and minus 2 and minus 3 and minus 4. Have you understood? Have you understood this concept? Yes, reply. Okay. Yes. Yes. Moving forward. What is the starting and end point? So my root locus, there would be a breakaway point between that minus 1 and minus 2, also minus 3 and minus 4. So my root locus will start between these points and will end on the j omega axis. But where on the j omega axis it should exist, that I have to find. Means the starting point and the end point. Means root locus is the curve which will start from the x-axis and it will end at the j omega axis. J omega axis means your y-axis. So on x-axis, what is the point the root locus will start, and what is the point on the y-axis that root locus will end? That is the rule number 4, starting and the ending points. Consider a closed loop transfer function kg of s divided by 1 plus kg of s into h of s. As k approaches to 0, the closed loop poles approaches to the pole g of s and h of s, which is the open loop transfer function. Similarly, k approaches to infinity. Similarly, the k approaches to the infinity, the closed loop pole approaches to 0. That is g of s and h of s. We can conclude that the root locus begins at the finite poles g of s and ends at the finite zeros g of s and h of s. Yes, you have to keep that in mind. The root locus always starts at the infinite poles, means root locus will start from the poles and will end at zeros. So starting point it will be pole and the end point it will be zeros. Yes, keep that in mind. Rule number 4. The root local begins at the finite and the finite and infinite poles and ends at the finite and infinite zeros. So in this system, the root locus begins at the pole minus 1 and minus 2 and ends at the zeros minus 3 and minus 4. I have told in this figure that cross sign are indicated with the poles. Cross sign, these are my poles, and circle sign, these are my zeros. So root locus will start from minus 1 and minus 2. Why? Because they are poles, and it will end at the zeros, means minus 3 and minus 4. Yes, have you understood? Yes, moving forward. Yes, see, I have told already that there would be a transfer function. In that, in numerator, there will be minus 3 and minus 4, and in denominator, see, are you seeing that graph? See, minus 1 and minus 2 on the pole. It is on denominator side. Your poles will be in denominator side. Minus 1 and minus 2. See here, minus 1 and minus 2. If you are calculating s plus 1, then s equals to minus 1 and s equals to minus 2. I have plotted in this j omega axis or s plane. and 3 and 4, minus 3 and minus 4, s plus 3 and then s plus 4. Have you understood? This would be your transfer function for this axis j omega plane. See, now the behavior of the infinity. Every function has an equal number of poles and zeros. For example, consider a transfer function. Yes, just tell me now, this is your transfer function. How many poles are there and how many zeros are there? Yes, tell me, anyone? G of s equals to s plus 1 divided by s plus 2, s plus 3. How many poles are present in your system and how many zeros? Yes, anyone please tell. Unmute yourself and just tell me. For this transfer function, g of s equals to s plus 1 divided by s plus 2, s plus 3. How many poles are there in my system and how many zeros? And tell their number. One pole and two zeros. Bhupesh, you are wrong. Poles means I said it is in denominator. So there are two poles and one zeros. Two poles at minus 2 and minus 3. They are your poles. Yes, Kanchan, absolutely right. Minus 2 and minus 3, they are your poles, and s equals to minus 1, they are your zeros. Means in this transfer function, there are two poles and one zeros. Keep that in mind. PD, poles denominator, PD. इतना तो ध्यान में रख सकते हो. Poles always lies on the denominator and zeros lies on the numerator side. Yes, keep that in mind. The function has two poles at minus 2 and minus 3 and one zero at minus 1. Because of the number of the poles and zero must be equal, the function has a zero at infinity. See, means if there are two poles and two zeros are the function, then the zero has a then the function has the infinity. But in this case, there should be a system should be stable when poles are greater than zeros. Keep that in mind. For a system to be stable, there should be more number of poles in my system rather than zero. In this case, there are two poles and one zeros. This function has a zero at infinity. The rule will tell us the conclusion that the root locus approaches straight line as the root locus approaches to the infinity. Further, the equation says the asymptotes of the real axis can be calculated as. How to calculate the asymptote? So it is one of the concept while solving the root locus technique. What is this asymptote? So calculation of asymptote is like that. Formula for calculating the asymptote is that how many asymptotes will be there. So summation of poles minus summation of zero divided by pole minus zeros. Means on numerator side, for calculation of asymptote, in numerator side there would be a summation of finite pole minus summation of finite zeros divided by number of finite poles and number of zeros. So in this example, yes, say summation of poles would be minus 2 minus 3 means minus 5. Are you getting? Summation of finite pole in this numerical, it would be minus 5 minus summation of finite zeros means minus 1. Minus 5 of minus 1 means how much it is coming? Minus 5 plus 1 means minus 4. In this case, minus 4 divided by finite pole minus 0. 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 means 3. So 4 divided by 3, how much it is coming? That would be your asymptote. Have you understood this formula for calculating asymptote? Yes, sigma A. This is your asymptote formula. Summation of finite poles minus summation of finite zero divided by number of poles means P minus Z. So this is the formula. Again, another concept of calculating. This is the formula for calculation of angle of asymptote. So how to calculate? Theta equals to 2k plus 1 into pi divided by number of finite pole minus number of finite zeros. This is the formula to calculate the angle of asymptote. First of all, I have calculated the asymptotes, then angle of asymptotes. So first of all, the formula for calculating asymptote is that summation of finite pole minus summation of finite zero divided by finite pole minus finite zero. This was formula for asymptote. Now to calculate the formula for angle of asymptote is that 2k plus 1 into pi divided by p minus z. P means number of pole minus number of zeros, where k is varied from 0, 1, 2 and 3, and the angle is given in radian with respect to positive extension on the real axis. So this was your rules to calculate the actual root locus. Now with the example, we will see how exactly the root locus is sketched with the following example. Let us now demonstrate the concept with the example. See, now the example is given. Sketch the root locus of the system shown in the figure. So this is your transfer function. Okay, R of S is your input, C of S is your output, and feedback is given with the help of 1. So this is your open loop transfer function. So while calculating the closed loop transfer function, this G of S divided by 1 plus G of S into H of S. In this block diagram, you have given only G of S, but there is H of S. H of S is 1. So this is your open loop transfer function. While calculating the closed loop transfer function, what I have to do? G of S divided by 1 plus G of S into H of S. So what is your G of S? K, S plus 3 divided by S, S plus 1, S plus 2 and S plus 4. Now tell me how many poles are there in this system and how many zeros are there. Yes, anyone? Poles and zero. Yes, tell me how many poles are there and how many zeros are there in the system. Yes, 3 poles. सुकेशनी प्लीज चेक करो एक बार. 4 पोल है. एक पोल मेरा 0 पे है, जो एफ है ना, वो 0 पे एक पोल है, एक -1 पे, एक -2 पे और -4 पे. ऐसे मेरे 4 पोल्स है और एक ही 0 है जो कि -3 पे. Yes, 4 poles and 1 0. Kanchan, absolutely right. So S means your one pole is at your 0. So एक जो पोल है तुम्हारा वो ओरिजिन पे है, 0 पे है. एक पोल कहाँ पे है? -1 पे. अगेन नेक्स्ट पोल इज एट -2 एंड अगेन नेक्स्ट पोल इज एट -4 and 1 0 is there at -3. So calculating the asymptote. Now just now only I have told. Hello. Just now I have told to how to calculate the formula for asymptote, right? So asymptote is summation of finite pole minus summation of finite zero divided by pole minus zero. Okay, so calculate the summation of poles. Zero तो calculation में नहीं आएगा. -1, -2, -4. So -1, -2, -4. How much it is coming? -7. -7 minus of -3 means 4 -4 divided by नंबर ऑफ फाइनाइट पोल. मतलब कितने पोल है मेरे पास? 4 पोल है और 0 कितना है? 1 है. सो 4 - 1. सो हाउ मच इट इज कमिंग? असिम्प्टोट -4 डिवाइडेड बाय 3. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? सबको ये असिम्प्टोट समझ में आया क्या? हाउ टू कैलकुलेट असिम्प्टोट? यस, जस्ट टेल मी. रिप्लाई. हाउ टू कैलकुलेट असिम्प्टोट? summation of finite pole minus summation of finite zero divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. साइन हमेशा याद में रखना, ध्यान में रखना है, यहाँ पे मिस्टेक नहीं करना है. यहाँ +4/3 किए रहते तुमने तो आंसर गलत हुआ रहता. -4/3 है यहाँ पे asymptote. So now calculate the angle of asymptote. So just now I had told you to calculate the formula for angle of asymptote is that theta equals to 2k plus 1 into pi divided by number of poles minus number of zeros, means p minus z. So k will be varies from 0 to 1. So how to calculate theta 1? Theta 1, keep the value of k is 0. k की वैल्यू 0 पुट करना है फर्स्ट थीटा 1 कैलकुलेट करने में. सी how many angle of asymptote will be there, how many theta will be there, how we can define that? p minus z means जितने मेरे पोल है माइनस जितने मेरे जीरो है, जो भी वैल्यू बचती है उतने मेरे एंगल ऑफ असिम्प्टोट रहेंगे. मींस इन दिस केस I am having 4 poles and 1 zeros. So 4 minus 1 means it is coming 3. So there will be 3 angle of asymptotes. So first calculating first angle of asymptote, 2k plus 1 into pi divided by p minus z. So keep value of k 0 first of all and calculate the value of theta 1. So 2 into 0 plus 1 into pi means pi divided by 4 minus 1 means pi by 3. This is your first angle of asymptote, pi minus 3. Okay. Pi minus 3 means this is your first angle of asymptote. Pi 180 divided by 3. How much it is coming for k equals to 0? Then keep the value of what will be my second angle of asymptote? Keep the value of k equals to 0. No, keep the value of k equals to 1 for theta 2. For theta 1, always keep value of k 0 for any calculation. And then for theta 2, keep the value of k equals to 1. So 2 into 1, 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 pi by 3 means pi ही आएगा. So 180. दूसरा जो मेरा है theta 2 would be 180. So now calculate theta 3. So how to calculate theta 3? Keep the value of k equals to not 3. पहले सबसे पहले 0 लिए फिर 1 लिए, अभी लेंगे k की वैल्यू 2. So 2 into 2 4, 4 plus 1 that is 5, 5 pi by 3. That will be your theta 3. Theta 3 means angle of asymptote 3. Have you understood how to calculate angle of asymptote? First of all, you have to keep that formula in mind, 2k plus 1 into pi divided by p minus z. That is your formula to calculate angle of asymptote. Have you understood how to calculate angle of asymptote? Yes. Okay. If the value of, now moving forward, if the value of k is continued to increase, the angle would become repeat. The number of lines obtained equal to the difference between the number of finite pole and the finite 4 zeros. Rule 4 states that the root locus begins at the open loop poles and end at the open loop zeros. Yes, you have to keep that in mind. Always the root locus starts at the open loop poles and it will end at the open loop zeros. For example, there are more open loop poles than open loop zeros. Thus, there must be zero infinity. The asymptote tells us how to get these zeros at infinity. So root locus will, for example, root locus will start from this point, -1 and -2. What we have said that we have calculated this is root locus, right? This is root locus region. This is root locus region. Why? Because so for this example, one pole is at 0, one pole is at -1, again another pole is at -2, again another 0 is at -3, and again another pole is at -4. For our example, see, for this we have plotted. For this, one pole is at 0, one pole is at -1, one pole is at -2, one pole is at -4, one pole is at -3. So now we have to check whether it is root locus region or non-root locus region. See, we have plotted the zeros, we have plotted the pole zeros. one pole at 0, one pole at -1, again another pole at -2, and then another pole at -4, and one zeros at -3. So now I am checking the root locus region. 0 के राइट हैंड साइड में कुछ पोल है क्या? नहीं है. सो आई एम कमिंग ऑन -1. -1 के राइट हैंड साइड में कुछ पोल है क्या? ऑड नंबर ऑफ पोल है क्या? तो एक ही नंबर है, मतलब ऑड नंबर है. सो दिस इज योर रूट लोकस रीजन. मींस 0 to -1 it will be root locus region. So now checking on the another region, I will be at -2 pole. -2 pole के राइट हैंड साइड में कितने poles है? It should be odd number of poles. If there are even number of poles, then that is not root locus region. So -2 के राइट हैंड साइड में दो poles है, -1 और -1 and 0. So there are even number of poles, means this region will not be root locus region. -1 and -2, it would not be a root locus region. Now coming at the pole 4, we are checking this root locus non-root locus region for poles only, not zeros. zeros के लिए पकड़ के चेक नहीं करते, सिर्फ poles के लिए चेक करते. So now check. Now check at -4. -4 के राइट हैंड साइड में कितने पोल्स है? 1, 2 और 3. सो -4 and -2, this is your root locus region. Why? Because they are having odd number of poles, 1, 2 and 3. So -2 and -4 region would be root locus region. The figure shows the complete root locus as well as asymptotes that were just calculated. Notice that we have made us a rule learned so far. The real axis segment lies on the left hand of the odd number. Of the poles and zeros. The loop locus will start at the open loop poles and ends at the open loop zeros. For this example, there is only one pole and finite zeros and infinite zeros. Rule 5 tells us that there are 3 zeros and the infinites at the ends at the asymptotes. So this was the basic regarding the root locus. In the upcoming class, we will see actually how the numerical will start and it will end. But it takes near about 1 hour to complete the one root locus problem. In today's class, we have just seen the basics of root locus techniques and how to calculate the root locus techniques with the following rules. In the upcoming class, we will see actual numericals related to root locus techniques. Today's class was of just half an hour. Why? Because your midterms were going on. So from tomorrow and day after tomorrow, regular classes for 1 hour will be scheduled. So thank you, class. Stay safe, stay at home, and join the next class. Thank you.